Greetings, peasants, and this is a video response to the amazing atheist, who's apparently a self-proclaimed narcissist, among other things. However, the amazing atheist, he's one of those guys on YouTube with 100-something videos, like who actually makes videos that are longer than 10 minutes, and he probably actually makes a living off of doing YouTube videos. So he's pretty popular. I don't know. Pretty popular, I guess. I don't know what that means. Having a video channel on YouTube with tons of people watching. What does that mean? What does that make you? I don't know. Is that a thing these days? Are you like a professional YouTuber? Professional video maker? Is that your job? And if so, what's the job title for that? Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. Way off topic. What I've come here, okay, what I have to say is this. The amazing atheist is made for the argument that God doesn't exist. Basically, he's saying you can't, what he is saying is you cannot prove the existence of God. Somebody else came and said you can't prove the non-existence of God. And the amazing atheist seemed to think he was right, but the other guy who said you can't prove the non-existence of God is actually correct. Maybe not for the right reasons, but logically he's correct. You can't prove the non-existence of God. It's impossible. The amazing atheist, yes, says this and whatever, but he's also saying, on the flip side, therefore you can't prove the existence of God because you can't prove the existence of something that's non-existent. Of course you can't, he's right in this argument, you can't prove the existence of something that's non-existent. But God isn't non-existent. He exists simply because of what the word exist means. Look up the definition for the word exist, and if you have any brain or logic at all, God meets that definition. Jesus Christ may not have existed. There may not have been a person on this planet, who was a god or something, or like whatever. And like gods may not exist in physical form. They may not even exist in metaphysical form or any form at all, except for the form of imagination, in which they exist in our imaginations. This is what I believe. Religions, gods obviously only exist in imaginations and have become real simply because we imagined that they exist, and now they do exist in some form. The form being may have been that we made them up, but now, I mean, there's literature about them. You can't deny the existence of God. Otherwise, you wouldn't know his name if he didn't exist. Literally, there would be no God word. People would be like, oh, that thing doesn't exist. And you're basically saying that thing doesn't exist. When you say God doesn't exist, you're like, no, this thing doesn't exist. You're basically pointing, you might as well be pointing to an actual physical object and telling people it doesn't exist when you say that God doesn't exist. It's the same basic logical principle, and this isn't like an argument. I'm not on a side. If anything, I would be on the amazing atheist side. But I'm more logical than I am wishful. And I mean, it's suffice to say that a lot of religious people would disagree with what I'm saying, because I'm basically saying God doesn't exist in the way they say he exists, and he doesn't. That should be given. People need to admit that God was not real. God was made up by people. God is just that guy they talk about in the Bible who isn't a real guy. He exists only in the sense that people talk about him. Pretty popular guy, this God. Too bad he doesn't even get to have a real body. That was a screw up. And maybe he traded his body for popularity to the devil. You know, that's why God's so popular. He's the most popular guy in the world. Did you know that God is the most popular guy in the world? Yeah! It's God, baby. A guy who doesn't exist is the most popular guy in the world. Maybe it's our idea of people. You know, like, we're wondering, why we set these standards for people so high, for looks and for achievement and for intelligence, for what you can do, and like to be successful in the world. Let me tell you about being successful in the world. You want to be successful in the world? Just start polluting all the fucking time. Throw stuff away, buy new stuff. Like, successful people, what is a successful person? Somebody who has lots of money? I would say a successful person is someone who has very little stress, a lot of happiness, and doesn't have to worry about their living conditions or health. And these things can be quite easily achieved, to be honest. It's just when you pile all these other things on top of it, saying we need this and we need that, that, you know, basically what I'm saying is these people who are complaining about the economy and money and wealth, and there are people who cannot get jobs and are having trouble paying rent legitly. There are these people, but they're not the problem. The problem is the people who are actually complaining about the money. And they're complaining when they have enough of it, and they could probably survive with less. And it's like, you know what, I don't care if the world's broke and rich people have all the money. You should give what you have before you point your finger at them. Because middle-class America, and this goes for anywhere in the world, you got to look at how much money you guys have as a whole. So what, Joe Blow is $28,000 or whatever. Like, you know, sometimes Joe Blow has got nearly $500,000 tied up in real estate because he was a smart tradesperson or some shit. You know, and this adds up. I mean, people say 99% own 1% of the wealth. Well, people don't realize how much that 1%, sorry, 99% of people own, 1% of the people own 90% of the world, and 99% of the people own 10% of the wealth, I believe is the actual statistics. So I would say that's still 10% of the wealth of the world. Now, given that it's a pretty wealthy world, and given how much that 10% has, I would say, you know what? Let all the rich people have their money. Just give it to them, man. Tell them, like, we should just everybody, all you middle class people, stop trying to be pretending to be middle class. Get your lives down to the couple of things you need, and once you have things you need, you don't need month-to-month money. The only thing you need is food and shelter. You know, once you got your entertainment down, you know, we got the cheapest form of entertainment on the planet, the internet. You know what? To be honest, if the internet was all you had as a kid, you did well, man. Like, the internet's the greatest invention we've ever had, and it costs next to nothing. We got high-speed freaking computers are as cheap as they ever were. You can even buy somebody's old computer. And what do you need besides an old computer and high-speed internet? You can feed yourself. Vegetables and rice don't cost much money. I eat meat. I don't eat that much. You know, I probably should eat more. I exercise a lot. I watch these bodybuilders and stuff. They're eating like 3 to 6 pounds of meat a day or whatever. Like, to me, a half a pound of meat a day is a lot. That's a lot. You know, people don't need much to survive. They just need to stop stressing out. They need to get their health in order. They need to figure out what vitamins they're deficient on. And they need to start eating regular meals cooked at home. You know, I see people who are sick all the time, and there's one thing they're not doing: eating regular meals at home, man. Kick up that broccoli with that brown rice, man. You know? Me, I eat a dozen raw eggs a day. A dozen. It's great because you don't have to cook them. So, you know, there's really no excuse for not eating an egg or saying you don't have time. And raw eggs are quite possibly one of the healthiest things anybody could be eating right now. Okay, this video is way too long.